Hello, this is Connie Costa, and I am so excited about my guest today. It is the beautiful spiritual guide, spiritual counselor, Carmen Sima. Now, every coach needs some kind of guidance, and I went to this beautiful lady during my darkest days, she knows, and I cannot speak more highly of her. I've sent my clients to her. I absolutely love and adore this woman, and so I'm so excited that she's here today to give us her pearls of wisdom. And today we're going to talk about faith and trust, which is super, especially these days, right? It's like so important. So, just tell me, what does unconditional faith and trust mean to you, beautiful Carmen?
Thank you for that beautiful introduction, Connie. I love you. Thank you for the invitation. So, wow, that's a very beautiful question, and I get asked that often. For me, when I think of faith and trust, it allows me to tune into what I've been practicing as an Ayurvedic practitioner. I follow the teachings of the Vedic sages, and their philosophy is basically like what we've been learning in modern texts as well, to understand and truly accept the idea that we are souls that accepted to come here to earth, to incarnate here for the purpose of evolving our soul. And that perception really helps me to ground and anchor myself when I'm being tested through these obstacles, through the life lessons, the human journey. And when we're called to really cultivate that trust in God and the Creator. So accepting the fact that we are here to evolve ourselves then gives me an opportunity to look at obstacles as invitations to stretch myself and to practice having trust. It's not something that we're born with, and we're not obviously taught this either, right? It's not something that we don't learn in school, how to deal with obstacles through the faith, through our trust in the higher powers. It's not something we learn. It's something that I hope we begin to cultivate more and more as we're evolving. But for me, faith and trust is more about open-mindedness. It's more about when I am being challenged with obstacles to allow myself to think beyond that moment that I'm having of tension and pressure, and allow myself to become open to other ways of cleansing and clearing this obstacle, and seeing it as an opportunity, seeing it as, okay, I must have what it takes because I agreed to this lesson. That perception, that perspective really is part of having that open mind, to remain, open as opposed to closed and tense. Even though having those moments of humanity where we get stressed and fear are important, to also have the human experience, to allow ourselves those moments of that human experience of going into fear. So I do give myself permission to do that as I'm cultivating and reaching and feeling that faith that I'm seeking, but also the perspective of, oh, I agreed to this. So that helps me to continue to cultivate that trust.
Exactly. And that's what you've always said is, you signed up for this, so you know that you can do it, that you're strong enough, that you can get through this. And it's interesting because when we're in it, it's so hard to have trust and faith, but to know that the truth is, when we look back at our life, all those challenging moments are what shaped us. All those challenging moments is what made us who we are. And we've survived so many extraordinary and challenging moments, but we've made it through. And you're right, allow yourself to have that human experience, to feel whatever it is that you need to feel. But my thing is always telling people, don't stay in it. Don't stay in the shit here. Don't stay in it. Don't live in it. And, I want to know from you, can you give us an example of a time where your trust and faith was really, really, really being tested, where you felt like the universe was testing you and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't?
Oh my gosh, I have had so many. But I'll tell you one that's not too heavy. That happened last year. about the fall. It was about a few days before my birthday. At the office that I was working out of, I received a 30-day notice to leave my office. The landlady that I had gave me a 30-day notice to leave my office. She didn't really give me a solid reason. She just wanted me out. And I was so upset because I had, I have a practice, I have clients, I can't disturb that. I love my work, and I was doing everything that I needed to do to keep my alignment. I didn't understand how I had manifested it. So of course I went into that human frustration. I was so frustrated, like, oh my God, I have to find somewhere. It was already the end of the year. John and I had planned to travel, and now I have to figure out my situation with my office. 30 days. What did I do? Of course I started to, like, what did I do wrong? Then I realized, okay. And I was observing myself, and I said, oh, feeling compassion for myself. Go ahead, have that human experience. It was so uncomfortable, as it is when we are trying to figure out, like, where did this come from? I'm in alignment. I'm doing the things that I need to do to stay well and to, stay in that place of goodness so that I can keep myself available to the things that I'm asking for, right? Which we could talk about later. But I was frustrated because I felt like it came out of nowhere. Things were going well in my business, and I couldn't figure out why I had manifested this, because I really appreciated where I worked. I loved the location, or so I thought. I was like, oh, I love this place. It's across the street from a park. I love my office. I love it. I very much appreciated it. So again, I couldn't understand it. And I went into a deep place of frustration and anger towards my landlady. And then I realized, okay, go ahead and have that moment. What would I tell my client if she were in this situation? I would say, what is coming up for you? What are the thoughts that you're saying to yourself? What did I do wrong? So the first thing was like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to see what's stored in my subconscious mind, a programming that I have, that I'm doing something wrong. I immediately blamed myself. What did I do wrong? I'm a bad person, right? So then I was like, oh, thank you. I immediately saw this as an opportunity. If I'm practicing what I preach, which isn't easy to do when you're in that situation. You don't want to be in self-reflection mode. You want to whine and kick and scream and throw a tantrum, which I allowed myself. But then after a few walks and a ton of chamomile tea, I asked myself, okay, what is this bringing up for me? Of course, it brings up a feeling of shame and having done something wrong. What did I do to deserve this? So I said, oh, okay, I don't always have to. Why am I blaming myself for this? Maybe it has nothing to do with that. But it did give me an opportunity to reflect on and to see that that was something I had stored in my subconscious mind, a feeling of shame for having gotten in trouble, perhaps. And I forced myself to thank this opportunity, this person that was creating the situation, that was allowing me to reflect upon my subconscious programming. And I started to tell myself the opposite. I didn't do anything wrong. I actually have been manifesting abundance. Perhaps this is something that is going to bring something, a blessing, a better place. It is so difficult to be grateful when you're feeling sorry for yourself. But you have to sometimes force it. You have to take action. You have to do something else that is going to help you feel better. So I kept going on jogs and walks, and I did my yoga, which isn't what you want to do when you're feeling sorry for yourself. You want to dwell in the fear. Like you said, you have to get out of that space. So I did other things to feel good. And 24 hours later, my client the next day, a new client, beautiful woman, Amber, who took a class with us, she came glowing with her vibration, had a session with me. And after her session with me, she said, this is such a beautiful office. How long have you been here? Or something of that nature. And I told her, oh yes, I love my office, but I'm actually looking for a new place. And then she told me about this new location that was becoming available across from where she worked, which is where I am now. Much better vibration for me.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful.
Thank you. It's double the size, much quieter, much better, like 100 times better than where I was. I feel I don't have, it's all for me, and I get to be at peace. And then I did not realize that the dynamic between that location that I was in and the people that I had to engage with wasn't actually very positive. So I had outgrown that. and I didn't, and I had to force myself to trust that something good was coming, even though I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know. I literally was in my car struggling with, do I feel sorry for myself or do I feel grateful? Do I feel so? Do I start to cry or do I start to rejoice in the fact that something great is coming? So it is a test,
Yes.
and I keep telling myself, this is a test. This is only a test. And I kept saying, okay, creator, you're testing me, but guess what? I'm going to go into fear to have the human experience, and I'm going to know 100% certainty and practice knowing that I am creating something better for myself. And even though the tension was still there, that internal struggle between, being a victim and being in alignment, I was aware of it, and I said, it's okay to feel this way. I'm not going to judge myself, and I'm going to trust that I have the capacity to create something beautiful. And moment to moment, I know that I'm stepping into either a worse location or a better location, depending on how I feel.
Mm.
So that was probably one of the lighter ones.
Yeah. Yeah, but even though it's lighter, it's serious, right? It's your livelihood, it's your office, and so being basically kicked out and knowing that this is, something that is important to you, your livelihood is obviously important to you. Of course, it's scary, and it's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And so it's not easy to just be like, yes, I just trust, I have faith, it's going to be fine.
No, it's hard.
Of course, it's
It
challenging.
is hard.
Jane, you actually reminded me of a time where I was actually let go of a job. And for me, that was like, it was scandalous to be let go of a job because, first of all, I felt like I was, good. I had been there for years. Now, the position was eliminated because, not because of my work, but because they had run out of money. And so
Okay.
they were trying to cut positions. But still, it was one of those moments where it's like, what? My job is being eliminated? And I'll never forget, I was telling a healer at the time, I told her, and of course I had my, pity party, and I was like, oh my God, you'll never believe, I got let go and I just can't believe it. And she said, congratulations. Now you can do what you really want to do in life. And I'll never forget those words because it's not like when she said congratulations, that was the last thing I thought she was going to say. I thought she was going to join in the pity party. Oh, poor you, poor thing, right? And no, she didn't want to keep me small. And, she wanted me to see that I don't have, I get to choose, am I going to be just in this with this victim mentality, or am I going to be a creator of my own reality and create something extraordinary? Now, I would lie if I told everyone that the next day I became this super successful entrepreneur and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. There was a lot of struggles even after that. But it's where I'm now, like, to even think of being in that position today, all the extraordinary things that have come from that. And it's true, it did allow me to, fly. And even though I had challenges, and I bless all those challenges because I needed to go through all those challenges even after.
Yeah.
It now I am who I am because of it. And I did, it did give me permission to do what I wanted to do and to really figure out, well, what do I want to do? And I think a lot of my clients and a lot of people have this issue, especially now with this whole COVID thing, where a lot of people are losing their jobs. We have a choice, right? To go, oh my gosh, oh, woe is me, and have a pity party and suffer and be like, I can't believe this is happening to me. Or to be like, wait a minute, did I even like that job? Was I even happy there? Is that what I really want to do for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe there's a reason why I was let go from that job. And maybe this is an opportunity, a reset button for me to actually do what I really want to do, what I love to do, and pursue that instead. So I keep telling my clients, instead of seeing, because we have a choice, right? To see it from a negative point of view. It's all perception. Everything is perception. We get to choose. Everything's neutral. And we get to choose whether it's, oh my gosh, it's the worst thing, or oh my gosh, this could be the best thing. And so we're gonna visualize it anyway, visualize it from a positive perspective as opposed to, oh my gosh, doomsday, right? And so my next question to you is, what do you tell those people who feel like their prayers are not being answered, where they're like, Carmen, but this has been going on for some time now, and I don't feel like it's happening for me. It's just not happening. It's just not happening. What do you answer to that?
And I get that question all of the time.
Sure.
All of the time. And I have asked that question many times in my life too, like, it's not working. Well, if it's not working, stop doing it. If you're praying and praying and praying and praying and praying and it's not, and your prayers aren't being answered, then you need to stop. Stop praying for a while. And here's another thing about perception, like you said, and I want to totally encourage that, that be the message of this conversation, that it is about perception. It is about how we see ourselves in collaboration with this reality that we're in, with this lifetime, with this human. It is about perception. And going back to the idea that I am a soul having a human experience for the purpose of evolving my soul grants me an opportunity to be an active participant. So when obstacles come that I need to pray, I could pray from a place of, oh, I know that I have what it takes because I accepted this journey, as opposed to, I need you to solve my problem, God. Please, please give me this, grant me this, which comes from a place of need, which comes from a place of dependency on someone else to do the work for you.
I love that.
So I would like to offer another perception, is that our prayer, or this is my perception, is not something you have to adapt, but it has been very useful to me to understand that my prayers are not answered by God. My prayers are answered by my ability to tune into the frequency of that which that I'm praying for.
I love
Prayer is still beautiful because it's part of communing with God, or the creator, the divine, the beloved. Communion with the creator is spiritual devotion, which is absolutely part of the human journey, that a way of getting your prayers answered, because it calms you, it helps you feel connected to a higher source, it helps you draw strength, it helps you refresh your mind, it helps you take your thoughts away from the negativity, and it helps you align to something beautiful. So communion and prayer can support your manifestation that you're asking for, but it really is about what you said, taking action. It really is about, I'm going to pray for what I want with faith and trust, which is something we have to practice. We have to practice it. That's why they call it a spiritual practice. At the same time, I'm going to take action in the direction that will support this thing that I'm asking for, either by researching it or by learning people that are doing what I want to be doing, and learning what they've done, and look at what struggles they've had and grow from their experiences, aligning to that frequency. So when people tell me, Carmen, I hear what you're saying. I know I have to, align, but I've been praying this forever. I've been praying and praying and praying. I ask them, how do you feel when you're praying? Well, I feel desperate because it's not coming. I said, okay, well, that's the problem. It's not about praying with need. It's about communing and honoring the divine from a place of, like, I'm not going to ask you to solve my problem. I'm going to know that actually come from this light of the creation, and therefore I must have the same spark that is in the creation. And perception, again, like honoring the divine, communing with the divine, for me, that is more effective than prayer, to be honest with you, because prayer feels more like what we've been taught to do, which is like, please save me, something outside of me. And what I've adapted, which is what the Vedic teachings of, like, the Mayans and the Egyptians and the Buddhists and the Vedic teachers taught, our ancestors as well, to teach that we have the spark of the divine within us. That perception alone is so empowering. And to commune with that spark of the creator within you is a much more powerful place from which you can align your own immunity, which is part of your energy, and align your own mind, which is part of what makes your vibration. And then adapting the idea that if energy creates, really what I'm creating in my life comes from how my frequency, from my ability to tap into that which I ask for, then communing with the creator is much more effective than praying from a place of need. So I would say, stop praying in that way that you're praying, because obviously it's not working. And try honoring the divine, try communing, try just thinking of the divine, having a conversation with the divine, and then perhaps even allowing yourself to realize that, oh, I have the divine essence in me, and wow, let me take care of my body because it's here. So that just steps into a whole nother conversation of like self-care and honoring yourself,
Yeah.
and which is very grounding.
And I mean, I agree. I think one of the things that you said reminded me of how people have watched The Secret, and they're like, well, I'm praying and praying for checks to come in the mail, and they're not coming in the mail. And it's like, what action did you actually take to create abundance? Have you been taking
Yes.
action? And a lot of people just, that's, I guess, and I like The Secret. I think it's a great first step. So I have nothing against The Secret. I think it's a great first step, and it really has helped a lot of people. But and even the people in The Secret will tell you that there are more steps.
Oh yeah, it's incomplete.
Yeah, and one of the most important things, it does talk about it, but it didn't talk about it enough. There should have been like a part 2 about how important it is to take action and
Yes.
realize that we are co-creators, right? And so to take, it's funny, once a client told me, like, we're really good at taking responsibility for the good that happens, and then something bad happens and we're like, well, that's not my fault that happened. Like, I didn't do that. Why is that being done to me? It's like, no, instead of seeing it from a place of, well, why did I, create this? And not from a place of being wrong, right? Just like, how is this going to help me? It's in, DeMartini says this all the time. We want a life with pleasure but no pain, positive but no negative, happiness but no sadness. And that doesn't exist. First of all, we wouldn't even appreciate the moments,
The human journey. Yeah.
part of our human journey. That's just, it is what it is. We have to experience both. We have to. And during those times, that's when we absolutely do have to, it's a muscle, right? We have to have this trust and faith that we are going to get through it, that we are co-creators, that we can, yes, like you said, have our little, moment, our human moment, but then say, enough is enough. I'm not going to stay being a victim. I'm going to, whatever happened to me, I'm going to use this, and I'm going to empower myself and empower others and help people, with the same situation. One example I always give during my talks is another healer that I worked with years ago. She was telling me that she had gotten molested by her dad for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I said, my response to that was, oh my God, that's terrible. And she looked at me and she said, who are you to judge? She said, if it wasn't because of that, I wouldn't be doing all the extraordinary things that I'm doing now
Absolutely.
through this journey.
Bravo to her. Yes.
And so I remember it shocked me, because this was, I don't even know, 20 years ago, probably. It shocked me. And, I couldn't even understand when she said, who are you to judge? It actually empowered me. And now I'm helping, tons of women going through the same journey.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, now, today I'm like, wow, that was so powerful to see something like that from a different perspective, and be empowered by it and do extraordinary things from it, instead of staying in victimhood, which, we could all do, right? Like, it's very easy for all of us to stay in this victimhood of, this happened to me, and oh, woe is me. And I'm not taking it lightly. I'm not, saying you should just get over it. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's just we at every moment we have a choice of how we're going to deal with something. And so any tips that you can give people on, how to, with this muscle of trust and faith, how to have more trust and faith, and, during those moments, those really, really difficult moments, you've had those, I've had those, the ones that I've had have been really, really, really challenging and hard. I've had quite a life. So any tips that you can give to people out there when, maybe they're going through something right now where that is very, very, very challenging, very hard, and they just don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. They just don't see it. They've maybe been praying what they think is for too long, and things are just not going their way. It could be health, relationships, abundance, especially with this COVID thing, a lot of people are scared. And any tips that you can give?
Gosh, there's so many things that we could do to get our minds into a place of open-mindedness to a solution and inspired thought. I think one of the best, going back to perception, and the reason why I say perception is because it's your brain, it's your higher self, your wisdom, right? So when I am in a place of darkness, shadow, and just totally in my human, I also then bring to the my awareness that I am a soul having a human experience for the purpose of evolving. I say that over and over, and then I realize that as a soul, I do not understand what it is to be in pain or to be unloved or to be what are the things that we go through, harmed, rejected, to be impoverished or ill. Our soul doesn't understand that. And that's who we really are. That's our true self. But we come here to experience the opposite of our truth so that we could evolve, So having that perception that, oh, I'm here temporarily having this experience, but who I really am is a soul that is unharmed and unaffected by the human journey. And my soul self is always tuned in to the idea that they are loved infinitely by the divine beloved creator, by the divine father and the divine mother. That the soul is always tuned into that resource of unconditional love, unconditional kindness and acceptance and power and bliss and prosperity and health, all the divine essence. So when I'm in that space of darkness, when I'm feeling just in, the bottom of the bottom, which has been so many times in my life, I wish I would have had this perception when I was younger, but as I get older and I start to practice more of this perception, I start to align myself to my soul more. I start to lean into my soul and imagine what it would feel like to be back in my soul self, which is blissful, without pain, without struggle, without worry, full of all the good energies of the divine and connected to the divine beloved creator, which means you're open, completely open and not resisting being loved back. You're not resisting being supported. You're not resisting being praised and honored also by not only the divine, but your guardian angels, your ancestors, your spiritual guides. And when I'm in that darkness, and oftentimes I will literally wrap myself in my blanket and put my head under the pillow, I'm having a human experience. And I'll let myself grieve and feel, and some people don't need to do that because they're so masterful and I am more power to them, but I still need my human moment of I got to get it out of my system. I feel more cleansed when I do have that tantrum with myself, and then I align to that experience of what would it feel like to be in my soul self. And I practice just getting to that space. It doesn't have to take that long, honestly. It could take a few minutes, even in the shower. Just what would it be like? How could I imagine? Because our brains do not, when we're imagining things, the brain doesn't know if it's real or it's not. That's the power of our brain. So by imagining, which happens in our pineal gland, by imagining this bliss, this divine connection, divine purity, divine love, divine peace, divine forgiveness, divine everything divine, you start to activate parts of yourself that remember your soul. And that takes practice to really get into that space. But isn't that practice better than beating yourself up, than practicing being a victim? So I tell myself, I know it's not easy to do this when you're not feeling good, but this is what's going to help you, not continue to be stuck. And so I tell myself, Carmen, this is the way out. And it's not hard. It doesn't cost anything. It's just a few moments where you're placing your focus. Our focus is gold. Our concentration is the key to everything. What we focus on will then turn into our vibration. And then that vibration will direct our reality. And that reality will then begin to reflect back to us how we are feeling on the inside. And if you're feeling loved and supported and empowered and peaceful and joyful and feeling all these things more than you're feeling sorry for than yourself, for, you know what I mean? Then you're going to manifest a life that is more supportive because you're aligning to that higher self. And that is the key, that I feel like nothing has helped me more than that reality, that perception, which is involving your higher mental faculties. But you know, we're here to do that. That's what we came here to return to, is that sacredness. So
I agree. And I see
I hope that was helpful.
so helpful. And I agree. And I see so many people just constantly being negative about everything, about their bosses, about their jobs, about everything. They're so negative, negative, negative. And they don't realize that at every moment they're creating their reality with everything that they're saying, that they're constantly thinking. And they don't think that it's related. They think it's just, you know, it's completely unrelated. And I would never, I'm not one to say to always be positive 100% of the time. And because that's impossible. There's nobody that I know that thinks positive 100%. As a matter of fact, DeMartini always says a really funny story about how he was trying to say positive affirmations all day and think positive and, you know, positive, positive, positive. And he almost drove himself to be crazy. He said, because we're not meant to think that way. As humans, we're meant to have both, right? But it's
not relaxing either. It's not authentic.
But what are you choosing to focus on? You know, what, you know, are you choosing the negativity? You know, are you choosing that consistently? Victimhood, and to just be aware of your thoughts and to be aware of what you're thinking, you know. I'm never going to make money. I'm never going to live in the house that I want to. I'm never going to find a soulmate. I'm never going to find the love of my life. I'm not, like, what is it that you're constantly saying? And, you know, instead just noticing that what comes out of your mouth and what you're saying, and who are you surrounding yourself with? What are they saying constantly? And I've especially been extra, like, I've been listening to every single one of my thoughts lately, especially now.
Yes.
I've done that, you know, I've been practicing this stuff for so many years now, but especially these days, I'm just extra attentive to what I'm thinking. And I even surprise myself. I'm like, wow, you know, I'm, you know, 20 years in studying this stuff, and I have these really weird, bizarre thoughts. What is up with that, right? And where do you choose to put your focus on? Where, you know? And so, anyway, I agree with everything that you said. Thank you so much. Anything else that you want to say about trust and faith? Any other?
Yes, I would also advise to those people that are saying that their prayers aren't working. I would advise that they take a moment to do something out of the ordinary that is fun. Doing something completely fun and out of their routine to take them out of their regular patterns of thinking. I would also encourage them to, if they're not already health conscious, to develop some sort of deep self-care, to bring their awareness out of the outer world and into their inner world, to honor their body, to really accept the idea that the spark of the divine resides in them. And so therefore, they're literally walking with a sanctuary inside of them, and to honor their physical being, to accept this physical being and to care for it. Because the more you care for your body, the more calm your nerves are, the more relaxed your nerves are, which is a much better place to co-create with your creator and activate your own creative abilities. Because it's like 80% of your manifestation is the vibration of your immunity, your central nervous system. So I would highly advise grounding, doing things that are empowering, grounding, but also fun, that will really relax you and help you feel at ease in your body. It's really difficult to do when we're not doing well in our lives and we're stressed out about money, but it is 100% effective. And every time I go through things in my life where I'm going through some major transformation, major life lessons, I force myself to dip into the ocean. And sometimes I just cry as I'm swimming, and I feel so cleansed. It accelerates the healing process. It accelerates the lesson, you know, and it gets me back to a place of communion with that divine beloved creator.
Yeah, you always say that. You always say, go into nature, get some sun, vitamin D.
Vitamin D.
And I always tell my clients, how is this challenge going to benefit you? Write down the benefits.
Yeah.
This is a DeMartini thing.
That's a good one.
He's one of my mentors. He strongly believes, and I strongly believe as well, that there are benefits to every single thing that happened to us, everything. And it just depends if you're going to, again, like we said a million times, perception. Are you choosing to see it from a negative perspective, or from a positive, or from a more neutral place, and where you could see both the negative and the positive, the pros and the cons of any situation? And so I always, force my clients to write down benefits, and you would be so surprised, and they all find them.
Yeah.
What benefits? I'm getting a freaking divorce. What do you mean? Benefits, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, and then I go, no, write down benefits. I know that they're there. And so, this is going to shape you, change you. You're going to be a completely different person from this. Every challenge does that. Every, really, deep, strong challenge does that to us. So I have them write down the benefits, and, they're like, at a point to where you become grateful for that experience.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure that, and I think, gratitude is huge. I mean, this is probably one of the most important things we can talk about is gratitude. I have a gratitude journal, and I write down what I'm grateful for every single night.
Yes.
I force myself to think of new things.
Yeah.
To be grateful during those situations where we feel like, oh my gosh, I cannot handle this anymore. I can't take it. What can you focus on that you are grateful for? At any given moment, there are things that we can be grateful for.
Yeah.
One of my friends who's a healer was saying, when you can't think of anything, think you're not in Syria right now, so things like that, like that, you're not homeless, you're not in the street, think of, there's always somebody who's going through imaginable pain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we think, oh no, nobody knows what I'm going through, you know what I mean? Just think of what is it that you can be grateful for in this moment.
Yeah.
You have health, do you have a home? Do you have food? Do you have running water? Clothes, things that seem simple to you, but it's not simple to many other people. And so to just find the gratitude.
Yeah.
And be grateful for what you do have, and focus on that, because the more we focus on what we're grateful for, I mean, this is any of my mentors, anybody that it has a very amazing and successful life, they will always say that. I focus on what I'm grateful for. I am focusing on gratitude. I am just, instead of complaining, I am always focusing on my blessings, and more blessings come to
praise. That's before gratitude became such a important part of our dialogue in our modern world. I remember when I was a little girl, for a moment, my mom, we became like, I don't remember what type of Christian, but we were like Christians where she didn't wear makeup, she didn't wear pants. It was like a very strict form of Christianity where it was like Puritan. And I remember the ladies where I would say, praise Jesus, praise the Lord, praise this, praise that. And I don't know, maybe 6, 7 years old, I would take that home with me. And I would be like, praise my dolls, praise my teddy bears, praise my Skittles, praise the tree outside of outside of my window, praise my refrigerator, praise my meal. And I like live in praise. I praise for my clients. I praise my plants. I praise my husband. I praise my son. I praise my teachers. I'm like, oh, hallelujah. I still have this like Christian inside of my heart that I'm like, singing in choir and all that. And that keeps me in a place, like you said, of openness. Because when you're in that place of openness, you're more available to solutions and inspired thoughts, and to connection to, your guardian angels, and to God, to universe, to ancestors, to just like intelligence, divine intelligence.
Yeah, exactly.
Even now with COVID, even now with police brutality, even now I'm seeing all this, hatred, and I'm thinking, this is where we have to think and reflect. Do I go towards hatred and get passionate and want to fight against the old? Or can I praise the situation and say, you know, thank you for giving us a chance to see what's happening in the world. How can we make better? How can we be better? Who can I support that is doing the right things? And put my focus and energy on people that are praising the good, honoring the good, activating the good within them, and put all my energy on that as opposed to fighting what's not working. I don't want to fight anymore. That weakens my immune system. That hatred, that judgment, that hurts me. And when you see everything from a perspective of energy is everything, then it makes it easier to discern what to do.
Yeah.
Do I do this? It's complicated. It's not easy, but that's why, again, going to one last tip that I would like to offer is self-reflection and moments of solitude where we're not just receiving information, but actually unplugging to organize what we are living, experiencing, and kind of determine what we're going to do with our energy, how we're going to direct and best manage our vibration.
Yeah. You remind me of a story Alan Cohen once told me about Mother Teresa, how she was invited to a war protest. And she said, I will not go to a war protest, but I will go to a peace rally.
There you go.
In other words, focus on this. We're focusing on where do I want all my attention to?
Yes.
We've been discussing since the beginning. Where do I want my energy to go to? Because we get the choice. So why not choose a more peaceful, and all areas of our life, even when we're thinking of the future, whatever it is, why not visualize a more positive outcome, a beautiful outcome, instead of visualizing, a negative one or constantly thinking about that. And so, yeah, I think everything you said was spot on. Thank you so much. And how can people work with you? Because I love you so much, and I think before we record, I'm like, I want a session with you, and that I said I want another session with you because I love your sessions, and everyone I send to you, they're always like, thank you so much. I love her. She was so amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You're such a gift, and for sure, your channeling is spot on. So, how can people work with you? I will put it in the comment section too, how they can email you, like your email address and all your website and all that jazz. But just let them know what they can do with you.
Yes, I definitely could be reached through my emails, motherearthayurveda.com, carmensima.com. It all goes to the same website. I am very grateful. I love what I do, and it is an honor to be able to serve. It really makes me get up in the morning and just like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. I just can't wait to serve. It really makes me happy to support people and having the right perceptions that are going to empower their lives. And I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner and an intuitive guide, so I blend, the left and the right brain hemisphere, so it's grounding, empowering, but also expansive. Whatever they're working on to grow and evolve could be supported.
I love having a session with you. So it's very eye-opening. I've gotten some amazing guidance from my angels, ancestors, guides. So it's always so much fun. So,
but also third dimensional things on digestion and sleep and all that good stuff, because I like to be in all dimensions with my people. The more grounded we are, the more we can rise into that higher realm.
Yes.
And access there.
Yes, I also recommend you follow her because she does events around town and classes. Does all kinds of fun stuff.
I'm doing my best to be more active on Instagram. I prefer Instagram because it's easier.
I'm all about Facebook.
I know you are. You're the Facebook queen. I'm getting better at it, but I am a digital minimalist. I am, and I honor that. It's all the communing with the guides and the angels. It requires solitude, and yeah.
I get it. I'm on everything. All right. Thank you so much, Carmen. Have a beautiful
Thank you so much, Connie. It's an honor to be in your presence. You're such an expert. You're such a masterful soul, and it is an honor to be invited to your world. Thank you for sharing me with your people, and I'm very blessed. Thank you for this invitation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you so much.
Bye. Namaste.